Seamless, and this video is the last part in the Modern Music Business series, which is probably the most important part and the one that's most likely going to get you to have an actual career. How do you make money on the internet? But you can hear the laptop rendering the previous videos. I've recorded the first three. This is the last one. I'm rendering the first one now because I have to sync the audio again because I don't have the sync right. But you see that there, that laptop? That was a brand deal. What that deal is they gave me a laptop, Razor. They gave me a laptop. And I talk about that laptop and I show off how awesome it is and how I do all my production on it, which I actually do. I do all my production on that laptop. I haven't used my desktop computer. There's no other computer in this room. It's just that guy. And the reason why giving me that laptop was a valuable decision for Razor is because there's value in my videos. And what is the value? What is it? It isn't just that I'm showing it off. But if it is just them showing it off, what then is the value? Why? For what reason? And the answer is obvious. You are the value. You guys seeing it there and understanding and being communicated to you that this is a cool machine is the value. This is a kind of targeted data mining by bringing this advertisement into my videos. And the way that I mean that is that even before something like Facebook or Google or YouTube, Twitter or whatever does all their crazy data tracking that they do in order to come up with the right kind of targeting to show you the right kind of ads to you, there exists people like me who are there to essentially be sponsored by people to show off things like guitars and instruments, to be like, you see how this awesome thing I'm doing? Check out what I'm doing it with. How often have you as a producer thought to yourself, okay, I need to go in what I'm going to make a sound. What do the people that I know do it well use to do it? That's the first step to anyone when they ask about how to do these gear things. They go find out what their idols use. So that's an incredibly important advertising position to be in terms of the targeted, because it is targeted directly to people who are going to buy that specific piece of gear. If they're interested in doing what their people are doing, with the way they're doing it. So that's a pretty obvious thing. So how does that work out for me? Well, that's a very basic way of looking at it, that like I am essentially the targeting. I'm bringing them the relevant people by showing them producers, people like you who are coming to see these videos. Because primarily for me, people who are watching it are producers. That gives me a particular position in the industry to be pretty valuable to people who want to show off gear. Early on, when I was first doing tutorials, the value that I had in my videos to people like ImageLine was that I showed off their software doing cool stuff. So they saw the synergistic opportunity to blog my video, bring viewers to my website, the YouTube videos, because that showed their product in a positive light to the people who were going to want to see that. And that is extremely valuable to these companies. So if you want to make money on the internet, not just courting these guys is a good idea, but it shows off the whole reason why it's a good idea. Because you want to create the value, and the value is bringing people to see things that you do. It could be any number of ways to do it. The most direct sort of comparison to everything else we've been talking about in terms of like regular, like selling music or whatever, is just that you are bringing people to come see the music that you have on the internet. This is straight up things like Spotify or Pandora or any of that, like, or YouTube even. Like the Monster Cat and other promo channels that exist on YouTube are taking 100% advantage of the fact by putting out streaming in a perfect quality the whole music. Do you remember the beginning of YouTube when labels would put out music in terrible quality on purpose so that you would have to buy the track if you wanted it? No, none of that anymore. Nobody buys music anymore. No, they want you to see it. They want you to go to the video now, because you being on the video, you watching it with the hundreds of thousands of other people who are doing it, is officially more valuable than buying the music. That's why the value is in like the content, obviously, the creative, they get people to see it there, but ultimately it's in having brought the people there. Anything you can do to bring people to see what you're doing is good. And the obvious, like, even in like, using other producers that are at your level, collaborating and doing remixes to gain popularity, you are sort of trying to synergize with another viewer base by like overlapping, by introducing yourself, essentially by collaborating with them, being like, you're going to get their viewers and they're going to get your viewers, and your remixes, you're biting into like the pop culture apple, and that's a way to get people to come and see your stuff. That's the kind of thought you have to think about if your goal is to make money on the internet. It is quite a cynical process to be thinking of this way, but the whole idea is that you want to do the best you can to get people to come see your stuff. This is a very difficult and ethical question to have to some people, because this gives rise to the entire concept of clickbait, where the whole idea is that if you can inflate the number of views you have on something, then you get paid more for the advertising dollars. Now, this is a bad practice for both people, because the whole reason why you guys are valuable to the advertisers is because you're being tracked, because you being there where you are at the time and doing what you're doing. It's information now informing what they think you want in life. And that means it's going to change what kind of targeting information gets used to put what product in front of what person. The best possible advertisement that could ever exist is the one where a product is put in front of the person who wants it when they want it. That's the ultimate goal of advertising. That if the second someone wants a thing, it is available for them to purchase right there. No thought required. It's there. It's them. It's theirs. That's what they want in the world. And I'm perfectly honest. That's what we want too. We want the stuff we want to have, right? Like, I mentioned Splice a lot in this series, and I do that because I want y'all to go to use that link that I have, but also because it's like, this is what advertising is. A lot of you are hearing about Splice and Splice sounds and how you can pick and choose out of a whole sample pack instead of having to buy a whole sample pack, just the samples you actually want individually, and that you're never going to run out of samples out of the hundreds you get per month, because it is a subscription service, because you can pick and choose. It's amazing what you can get when you only get the gems, the very best out of every individual pack. To some people, that just blew their minds because they've never heard of Splice, or they heard of Splice and didn't know they had a sample pack system. And that is a failure of advertising. And that's why me talking about it just then was super valuable to Splice, why they're happy to give me a cut of what people go in to sign up for their service, which, by the way, you get a free trial if you can use the code. It's in the description of my video, because it delivered to them the people that want their service. And what is more valuable than that, really? And so in the case of me, this is just a really happy kind of synergy, because I deliver producers, and so producer-based content is what comes through me. But for more regular music, this doesn't necessarily have to just be music stuff. If you get to be a popular YouTube channel, there's actually oh crap, what's that place called? I used it for, damn it, I really wish I remember what it's called. Okay, it was a portal where you could submit your YouTube channel, and you get partnered automatically, essentially, kind of like a dating service, with advertisers who want to give you money, push a product, and like they might send it to you. So I've actually been approached by people through the service to do things like watches and things, and like clothes and stuff. And like, I wasn't gonna do that because I didn't feel like that was relevant. But for some people who are like doing the more artisty kind of thing and having a lifestyle, that shit is relevant as hell, and that could be really big money. It's essentially like product placement in your life. That sounds dystopian as hell, doesn't it? But consider that this is a relatively harmless way for you to just like have yourself set and not really have to worry about what your music sounds like, except that you think it's awesome. And for me personally, this is the ultimate goal any artist could possibly have. The idea that you are set financially, you can just do what you want your whole life. And you could do this pretty easily by just living your life and essentially monetizing it. And it really sounds super dystopian when I pronounce it like that, but it is essentially what the internet is. It's a lifestyle for people. And the money on the internet is directing where they live their life. And if they live their life with your content, you are a valuable individual to then have things be shown to and to show things with. That is where the value comes from. So that in any kind of content you make, anything you do, you want to find the way to present it in such a way that it will get in front of the most people. I don't recommend clickbaiting it, but that it is an effective strategy, considering if you like don't get caught doing it. Because then if you are shown to not be useful to the advertising thing, you're just gonna get cut out. That's not gonna be a good time. So that's a pretty big part of that. But on top of all this, like the idea of ad revenue supporting everything, it's also not kind of the main deal. Like, just pure ad revenue through YouTube, because YouTube's whole idea is that they just give you like half the cut of, I'm pretty sure it's half, maybe like 45% or something like that, of what the main thing is, and then you get it through whatever MCNs and stuff. But like, it's basically a label architecture of how ad revenue gets shared, and through YouTube is part of the reason why things like Mastercat can exist, because of just the aggregate view counts. Oh, speaking of which though, here's an interesting idea about how my career was able to leverage this truth of the internet with music I haven't even released. So you're familiar with my Thing AA tracks, where it's just stuff I'm doing, and I think it's neat. I may or may not finish them. Some of them end up being tracks, some of them just die. But the idea is that like at the moment there might be something cool that I want to show off, and I do, and it's neat. Some of those tracks, some of those Thing A's that are 30 seconds long, have more views on them and more time spent on them, which is actually the important metric here, than some of my actually finished in album completed tracks that like time and blood and money were spent on. And like, I would do that again because I like doing the stuff. But the point is, a track I haven't even finished has already made me money. And this kind of like ludicrous, tiny ass micromanagement of everything, I'm not even maximizing it as hard as I could be. I could be doing more streaming. I could be like, Twitch exists as such an incredibly monetizable system to push everything about the community to make you money as a creator and them money as well. And like, if you really go push it, do it, and get and like really grind in there, you can make a lot of money. And that's just an effort thing on your part. And that's like, I could be doing all that, and the Patreons and the content, and like every aspect of it can be broken down into smaller and smaller parts that can be individually monetized with the relevant and targeted things. The targeting is really what's important here, because like, if you really don't get the scope of why targeting is so valuable, let's describe what the world used to be like. Consider the 90s when you had email and spam everywhere. The common joke, is people who were not relevant to them getting boner pill ads, being like, I'm a girl, and like, oh, I got an email showing off like, you can get your penis to be huge, and like, that's just hilarious. But it's also a massive failure of advertising. The idea that someone paid money for a spam account to basically just plaster the internet with unhelpful amounts of like advertisement and all, like, there's no way that really got a return. The value of targeting is that, okay, I only want to send my stuff to men. The ability to say that and actually get a result. That didn't used to really be possible until things like Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff got so big and ridiculous that everyone is identifiable by these basic traits. This was a big shift of things, and this actually got to the point where advertising could get so targeted that you didn't need to pay for as many views. Each individual view was now more and more valuable because it could be targeted to a degree that was super specific. Like when I went to go do a talk in Seattle one time, ImageLine put up an ad for it that was targeted to the specific Seattle area that was going to be anywhere near it. Like, and they paid the money that got to some thousands of people that could only have been the ones that would ever have been relevant, as opposed to just putting it on their whole thing and people in like international countries are seeing it. Like, what possible value could that have been? And like, that's the value of what targeting can get us. And that value that I just described there is why Facebook is so valuable to people like ImageLine and people even bigger than that. That is why Facebook can be free, because they're delivering the value, which is you guys, by having the experience of cataloging all the value. I'm not being sarcastic about that. I'm not saying it's stupid. This is how this stuff has to work. And this is the only way any of this could ever be free, for you anyway. And this is why my stuff can be free, because the act of you looking at the things has already made me money to the point where I can focus on making more things. And that is the only goal of business I can conceive of. So that's how you do this on the internet. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.